For 2 years now, a plane flight from Dublin to Brussels has been the regular start to most weeks for Dr. FitzGerald. Sometimes the trip is for routine business at EEC headquarters. Sometimes it's for major policy negotiations with the outcome of interest to all of us. On Sunday morning, it was back to the airport again. Another routine start to another week for the Minister.
Right, okay, here's your day. Thanks, Ashley. Is it? I never instructed you about that.
Well, I talked to John about it.
Yeah, I know.
Have you money for papers?
Well, after having 3 collections of Mass, I don't know that I have. No, I won't get pennies left.
For years, he travelled by surface in deference to the wishes of his wife. She had an aversion to flying, but since he became minister, she has modified her views. Sometimes she now travels with him, not on this occasion.
Oh, dear.
Sugar, Mrs. Stewart?
No, thank you very much. The only place I ever see Garret is in an airport.
That's a good point, yes.
Yeah.
He's away all the time. Do you ever see him?
Well, I go with him. But I mean, 8 days at home in January, you know.
Oh, that's quite unusual.
But is it unusual?
It's not
so
8 working days.
Perhaps Joe knows better than you now, just how many days you're home. 8 days in January.
8 days
8
in
working
January.
days.
Well,
Thank you.
13 days including weekends.
and then he's in the office all the week. I mean, he's been there already this morning. He's been working in the office this morning.
Well, you must be a very understanding wife then. What about the family? They are to a certain extent reared.
Luckily, yes. We were very lucky in that. It would have been disastrous if it had happened sooner.
Minister, this is even a more elaborate trip than usual, this particular one.
Yes. Well, there's this parliamentary conference in Africa between the European countries in the community and their African associates. It's the old association, which is now being enlarged, to take in a lot of countries which were associated with Britain particularly. And they're having this parliamentary conference, which as president of the Council of Ministers I have to attend. So we're going out to London now, usual stop over there, on to Paris, change, and then get a plane to Lomé in Togo. I worked this out myself as the optimal way of doing it, and I have a very short night in Lomé, 6 hours, before taking off at 6:30 tomorrow morning to Abidjan, and spend the day there at the conference, and then I'm getting a plane, the council arranging for a plane to get me back to Accra along the coast in Ghana, from which I can get an Alitalia plane to Rome on Tuesday, because I've been anxious to have contact with the Italian government for some time past. We have a good deal to talk about, and I thought I could fit it in on the way back from Abidjan to the concluding, at least we hope it's the concluding conference in Brussels with the African, Caribbean and Pacific countries to create the new association. And then if that is completed all right on Thursday and Friday, I should get home on Friday night to Dublin.
Well, Minister, you're always on the move, and I think I might read another quotation. Unfortunately, I'm reading unfavourable quotations as far as you're concerned, but I have piles
That's
of
all right.
favourable ones as well. But Time magazine, talking about your general appearance, weren't very flattering. They said that you had very little interest in it and talked about a rumple grey suit and red socks and tousled hair, Minister.
Yes, well, that's a point of view. But I'm afraid that if I put a suit on, as soon as it's on me, it's crumpled. It's not, I mean, some people, clothes just have this effect on, or they have this effect on clothes. I'm afraid I'm just that kind of person. I do my best to keep my suits pressed, but they never look as if they are.
But you have no ambition ever to get in the 10 best dressed men in Europe, or anything?
No, I was amused to find myself in the Sunday press shortly after the government changed as the most consistently worst dressed person in Ireland. I thought that a little harsh, but these are things one has to put up with in politics.
I have a friend, Minister.
I think there are more important things in life than being well dressed, with respect.
Well, I have a friend, Minister. Getting votes, of course, are very important, but I have a friend, a barber now, who claims that if you had a different hairstyle, he would pick up about 5,000 extra votes, he reckons, in the South East constituency.
Well, I want to tell, as a political pundit, would you think that's a fair calculation? 5,000? I rather doubt it.
No, I wouldn't. I think attending perhaps 10 or 20 clinics would be equally good.
Yeah, I think so. No, but I mean, it's no good. You can try what you like with my hair. It always stands up anyway. It's just made like that. And there isn't much time to get it cut. My wife usually does it, in fact, because there isn't really time in life to go to the barber. And she's quite good at it, except that I don't give her access to it sufficiently frequently.
So, Minister, you're on the last leg or the last stop for today anyhow.
That's right, I'm going in the 1930 flight to Brazzaville, which stops at Lomé in Togo. I'm not going in the Abidjan one because it goes right through the night and gets in at 6 or 7 in the morning. I get no sleep. This way I can sleep in Lomé and get another plane on in the morning.
With all of this movement from one place to another, one capital to another, do you ever forget, Minister, where you're going?
No, I occasionally wake up in the morning wondering where am I. It's a slightly different thing. But there is a story of two officials of the department who went out to Dublin Airport to go somewhere, and they'd been moving backwards and forwards very frequently the previous few days. And the plane was delayed, and they had a cup of coffee. They say coffee. And after an hour when they got up, they couldn't remember whether they were leaving or arriving at Dublin Airport. But my own absent-mindedness takes a different form. I remember going to Copenhagen on one occasion during the Monaghan by-election. I left Monaghan, leaving my overcoat behind. I had to go to Brussels for a couple of hours. I left the book I was reading on Napoleon behind. Then I got to Copenhagen, and to leave very hastily from Copenhagen, I got a lift back to Brussels with the Belgian Foreign Minister. Left my pyjamas and razor behind. And when I got back to Monaghan, to Marquis in Carrick Cross, I left my glasses behind there. Trail of destruction behind me.
Minister, I often wonder, does the government in particular have to keep in contact with you? Do they have to know where you are every moment of time?
My office always knows, and so does my wife, because we like to keep in touch. I have a particular interest at the moment as I have a grandchild due, so I'd be very concerned that she should be able to contact me at any time. But anyway, I always do let them know where I am, and they can contact me very quickly if necessary. It was rather an Irish occasion. The community was represented by Paddy Hillary and myself. He from the Commission, I from the Council. I think the Africans were beginning to wonder, are there any other countries in the European community except Ireland at that stage? But I think it was quite a success.
You changed suits on your way out for obvious reasons, Doctor. I see
haven't got the other one cleaned yet.
You've since changed ties.
Yes, well, after the Parliament meeting, President Berghaber, the President of the European Parliament, asked Paddy Hillary and myself into his office and presented us with these European Parliament ties. And since the tie I was wearing wasn't a particularly strong one, and my shirt button had gone, I was very happy to change into it. This is a good one. It holds the shirt together even if there's no button.
As President of the EEC Council, Dr. FitzGerald's views get extensive coverage in Europe, but he must still look after his home constituency. The Europeans have little influence in Dublin South East and no votes.
What we're trying to do is to maintain living standards. This means wages and salaries must be adjusted to keep in step with prices. And so we put that idea across in our white paper, and to back it up, we made the commitment on social welfare, and we've done it on social welfare.
On Saturday morning, it was a seminar in Dunleary, and then, for the man chairing the talks between the EEC and the ACP, there was a political clinic in Ringsend.
Would I be put out of it?
Well, you'd suffer the same hazards as those who are squatting at present.
But then I got put out of it. And I got there before.
At some stage,
I suppose I got, you know what I mean? And I heard there was a place going to be idle, and there was an extra 2 bedrooms upstairs. Would I be put out?
Well, anybody who squats at some stage has to be put out. I know they haven't been put out up to now, but obviously they haven't got a right to be there, and you put yourself at risk, and then your chance of getting somewhere else may be lessened. I have to say that in fairness.
A great many people in Fine Gael and a great many people around the political scene would like to see Garret FitzGerald making the leadership. I think one of the things which might handicap him in this regard would be his impatience and his tremendous enthusiasm. Now, he may slow down somewhat over the years, but the Irish people are basically phlegmatic in their approach to politics, and they might prefer somebody a little slower in his movements and in his general activities.
I've just been lucky. God's been good to me in this respect. I know that many people have very boring jobs to do, and to them, work of its nature is onerous because of they're no interest in what they're doing. But I've never faced that, fortunately.